when fans see videos of TJ in there, I mean, he can still go. It certainly seems like he can still go.
Yeah, he can't do anything that would require him to take a bump. So he can show little techniques, and TJ is like a wrestling savant. I think in the same way that like Daniel Bryan is. He sees the industry and wrestling and everything. Like you could ask him about a finish from a Bret Hart match that's very obscure. He would be able to tell you. Wow. He could tell you any single girl's moveset. He could, if you said, TJ, when did I have that match? Who was it against? What arena? What town? He's like that with moves too. He just knows how to dissect it, pick it apart. He was working with Nia Jax on something, and he was just helping her figure out exactly how to do it so that it was just perfect technique. And I was like, I didn't even know TJ ever knew about that move. And he's so gifted and he's so good, but he just can't bump. And that's the thing when you have an injury like what TJ had, where it's a C1 injury. And not everybody's familiar with what a C1 injury is, but it is... where TJ broke his neck was at the base of his brain. So it's where like the brain and the spinal cord meet. So it's a very vulnerable area. And the actual medical term for that injury is called a hangman fracture. So when people say, oh, TJ, we want to see you get back in the ring, and they see that he is very healthy and he is in very great shape, because he had a C1 injury with a C1, C2 fusion, he just can't take a bump, and he has to be very careful. So he can't ever come back to wrestling. He can't ever he can do stuff, he can do stuff, but he can't take a bump. It would be really dangerous.
What do you remember from that day when he got injured?
I just, from the day when he got injured, when we found out from the doctors that TJ's career would be over, it was like, I just felt like there was a lot of grieving, because it was such a hard thing to deal with. Knowing TJ since I was young, I met TJ when I was 10 years old. TJ was 12, and I knew that the only thing that he ever loved was this, and he dedicated and poured his heart and soul into this for over half of his life. Yeah. And when that happened, it was just like we had to come to grips with like that door was closed, because we just had to come to grips with it. But the good news is that, and I tell TJ this all the time, with that door being closed of him being a performer, what was wonderful was that it opened up the door for him to help others in a way that he could never have helped them in the ring. So what he does as a producer is he helps make other people's dreams come true. And for him, he said that's actually more gratifying than being in the ring. Wow. Like when he produced Sasha and Bianca at WrestleMania, he said it was just like this magical moment that even a match had never given him a feeling like that. So with that one door closing, with his injury causing his career to end, this whole other world opened up with him being able to influence the next generation of people in the industry. And I mean, I struggle to get TJ as my producer because everybody likes to have his help, especially the girls, because he's very, I think his style as a wrestler was, he was kind of like a girl when he had a very, he was smaller. How do I rephrase this? Sorry, TJ. He was a smaller guy. He was like 175, 180 pounds. So for him in a world of men that were big, like Braun Strowman and Big Show and all these big hulking guys, TJ was smaller. So he kind of understands the girls in the sense that he was smaller and he had to be good in order to get noticed. So the girls are very the girls are very detail oriented. And so because TJ is so detail focused, he helps us so much. And like I said earlier, I struggle to get TJ to even be my producer because everybody's like, I want TJ. I'm like, TJ, help me. But we have so many great producers that we work with. We're very lucky. But I always try to take a negative and make it into a positive. So nobody ever wants to have an injury like what TJ had. And sometimes stuff happens. But the great news is that TJ was able to take that dark time, which I think for me and TJ, that was probably the darkest time in our life. I mean, besides losing a family member, that was probably one of the hardest things we've ever gone through. And then we were able to turn it into a really positive